So that last arm I shot up was on parenting teenager management, how to close that gap. And I've heard many answers, but the parenting teenager piece stayed rather fresh for me, as I would get phone calls from home and check in with my 14-year-old daughter and just sort of come back to my seat and re-Abraham myself to hear my 14-year-old teenage daughter's tone and watch myself, orbit out and, try to apply the work today and bring it back in. And I've spoken to you about her years ago when she was just an infant. And I think she's just, lots of energy. All 4 of the children that Janos and I have parented have been really pretty loaded in that way. And this daughter of mine has, and I attribute some of it just to teenage years and discovering oneself at that time, and especially for a young girl, all of the internal energy that she's dealing with and, just all the evaluation she has to do. But I have zero tolerance and talk about, spiking anger at the tone of voice that she chooses to direct at Janos or myself, or her younger sister for that matter in the house. And as much as I, Abraham myself all over the place and have for years with you and, can adjust and tweak, I just get shattered in this place. I am blinded by it and I want to go, for the kill. There's something in me that gets so...
Well, it's logical. Now, let's talk about it. We want to say, and not in a trite or trivial way, so what's really bothering you here?
Well, I take it very personally. So what's bothering me, I guess, is this disrespectful tone.
But let's try to get to the vibrational heart of this. Mm-hmm. The disrespectful tone is one thing, and her life experience will bring her into interaction with many, and she will discover ways of interacting that will work for her, and she will be like most people who will learn to modify her personality to get what she wants, and she will learn to behave in the way she's expected to behave, and that you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, and in time she will modify her behavior and she will be a less authentic person. But that really is not what we want to talk with you about. Right. What we want to talk with you about is, why does it bother you so much? Why does that disrespect that she flings at you, why does it reach you so? You see, we can tell you, as we not only know you, but as we know all of you, that you were born knowing your value, and you've been scrapping in parking lots ever since trying to get it back. And so it's really an interesting cycle that we see with so many of you, where your parents, and we love them, but they knew not what they did. They robbed you of your sense of your own value, and now you're scrapping to get your own sense of value back, and just when you think you've almost made it, your children come forth and remind you haven't. What's stuck in your vibrational craw is, at so many levels of your being, you know your own worth, you know your value. Yeah. And to have someone that you care so much about look at you and not know it. And we want to say to you that, first of all, she's got a skewed view. Nobody can know you like you know you, but we do want to say to you that if you really knew your value, you would be evoking the respect that you want. When you get to the place that you can evoke the respect that you want, you don't need it. Because the respect is just a temporary filler for the connection with source that you're always reaching for. So you live life and you launch rockets of desire, and you become more and you become more and you become more and you become more. And source just keeps saying, come on, come on, come on. Look what we are becoming. Look what we're becoming. Come on, come on, come on. And when you come along, you just get clearer and surer and stronger and have more fun and more confident about who you are. But when you are like most people, and instead of coming along and just closing that gap because it feels good to do it, what most do is they check on what's happening outside of them to see how they're doing. How am I respected by society? How am I respected by my peers? How am I respected by my children? Now, teenagers care infinitely about their peers, and they don't really give much of a rip about mom and dad, which hurts mom and dad's feelings, because mom and dad no longer give a rip about their peers so much. And what we want to say to all of you is, we want you to leave all of that out of your equation, and the only thing we want you to tend to is your own vibrational crack. We just want you to close that gap between you, and when you do, your sense of value and worth will be so complete that when you look at a child, even in her outrageous, in the moment disrespect for you, your alignment with Source will cause you to flood her with love, not discomfort.
That's a challenge, that one, yeah.
Well, we know that it is, and we also know that it's easier for us to say it to you than it is for you to hear it, because we know who you really are, and we know what it is you're really wanting to feel. And what you're really wanting to feel is your own personal value. And when you really know your own personal value, then even influential people can look at you and criticize you for your position, and you are unruffled by it because you are so in alignment with you. There are a lot of people who are reaching for their alignment and don't find it. And then they say, what do you think? 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 And they get so much contradictory information from so many others. And if there is a topic that is more like that than parenting teenagers, we don't know what it is. In other words, there are so many people that say, oh, you've got to offer tough love. And there are so many people that are saying, well, you need to be more nurturing. And here we are saying to you, you need to take their response to you out of the equation, and you need to work on your own response to you. And when you get your own response to you in vibrational alignment, then it will become irrelevant what anybody else's response to you is. And when that happens, their response will be one of respect. Because when you are in alignment with who you are, you send out a signal that is so powerful that it influences people. People, they might not agree with you, but they will know that you are unyielding relative to whatever the subject is that is active that they are focused upon. Now that's the basis. And we think you heard it, and it's nice to offer words and theory. So as you said, how can we get down to the nitty-gritty practicality of that? And so something happens, there is a flurry, and your teenager spews something at you that makes you feel discomfort. The question that we want to put to you, and we threw it up just a little bit ago, and it's the reason that you were so inspired to get here in this chair. It happened in that moment, in fact. Your words were so angry that you would like to kill. What were your words?
Kill zone, yeah. So, yeah, about something about going to the kill zone.
So the thing that we want to ask you, in light of everything that we've been talking about, with Source over here summoning you, was that a step in the right direction? Because most parents who want to go to the kill zone would say, no, Abraham, that probably was not a step in the right direction. And certainly my psychiatrist doesn't think it was a step in the right direction. And what we're saying is, yes, it was. And if it was a step in the right direction, then what does that say about where you were before that happened? It says you were not feeling enough. And so law of attraction, when you don't feel that way, do you know those that are up closest to you have the greatest opportunity to reflect back to you how you really feel? It's so interesting, isn't it? Make a decision that you're going to get to the vibrational crux of what's really bothering me. In other words, what's bothering you about being disrespected is not that once you were accused of being disrespected. What's bothering you about being disrespected is that you want the vibration of respect, but you can't get it from your daughter and you can't get it from your father. You can only get it from your own alignment, which means it is utterly an inside job. And so what happens, and we see this all the time, where you've had a very vivid childhood, and so you decide what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, and then your children come forth and they don't play the game at all in the way that you wanted them to play it so that you could keep the rules or the decisions that you made when you were younger. And we're wanting you to understand that you're all making it too hard as you try to tailor into it how you lived as a child and how you were bringing your children up and how they're responding. You can just cut through all of that ever so much more easily if you'll just stop in the middle of being disrespected and ask the simple question, why does this bother me so much? And the answer to that is because it's reminding me of my own disrespect for myself. Because if I were really in alignment with the utter respect that Source holds for me, we would be together standing here in loving amusement of this child who is going through the motions of trying to figure out her place in this life. We would not take it so personally. When you are in alignment, no matter what it is, the universe brings to you those who are in alignment with that which is you. But when you want respect but don't believe you've got it, now you've got a split signal. So now what's the universe bringing you? All that exposure to all that experience that's pointing out to you those 2 points of vibrational relativity. I want something I'm not getting. You cannot demand respect. You hear people say, you can't demand it, you've got to earn it. And we would use far different words. We say, you cannot demand respect, you've got to feel it for yourself. And when you do, the world will treat you with such respect, and those that are not a vibrational match to giving respect, law of attraction will not put on your path. And we promise you that your daughter is not one who ever is intended to give you disrespect. She's just mirroring back to you, just like she promised she would, how you feel about you.
Wow. Thank you.